good gambler. There's something weird about promoting gambling, but I'll promote some sports betting. I'll do the sports bet game. What's it called? Because that's different. I feel like Prize Picks, like, hey man, can you do underdog? Oh yeah, I do it. But it's something about going on there and doing slot machines on fucking whatever app. Something about that, and then putting your money on there, and then oh, it's already lost. I don't know. You feel me? I need to have to learn something, but from outside looking in, that's a little nasty. You feel me? Let's get some video. Like look, the sports betting. I feel like, we all already do it. If you already either.
Sports betting, not gambling though. It's sports betting, not gambling though. Like, let's be real. Wait, let me get some information from my boy Copilot. Let me see what he knows, bro.
Sure thing.
Yo, Copilot, what's the difference between sports betting and regular traditional gambling? Like from, the casino and shit like that.
Sports betting and traditional gambling, like at a casino, differ mainly in what you're betting on. In sports betting, you're wagering on the outcome of sporting events, relying on your knowledge of the teams or players. Casino gambling typically involves games of chance, like slots, poker, or roulette, where luck plays a bigger role. So, one is more about predicting real-world events, while the other is often about chance and sports betting.
I see. So, do these got like similar effects on the psyche?
Yeah, they can. Both sports betting and traditional gambling can lead to similar psychological effects. They can trigger excitement and adrenaline, especially when winning. But they can also cause stress, anxiety, and even addiction due to the risk of losing money. The unpredictability and chance element can make it thrilling, but also risky for mental well-being.
So which of the two things make more money?
It really depends. Casinos can have huge jackpots, but the house usually wins in the long run. Sports betting can be profitable if you're skilled and knowledgeable, but is still risky. Some people make a lot for a sports betting, but they often have a deep understanding of the sports and good strategies. So it varies based on luck, skill, and strategy.
Alright. Okay, cool. No, let me see something. Let's keep going, brother.
You're done it, you're doing it now, or you used to, wait, those are only two things.
Yeah.
Because I used to do it.
For real?
It's like either you like it or you don't like to. And it's up to players and stuff like that. It ain't like the slot thing is just weird to me, bro. I don't know. You feel me?
If you were blind, it seems like Kick is coming to an end with a lot of the big creators on there thinking about switching to Twitch and being very upset with the way that their payout system works now. And it just seems like the overall platform doesn't really care about creating a good streaming service, but instead cares about gambling, which at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people suspect it. But I don't want to yap too much, so why don't we start with the beginning of how this website even came to be and why so many people are not surprised, but only championing the downfall of it.
Kick, a Twitch competitor. I don't think a lot of streamers have the to just completely go to another platform and build it themselves. And the fact that I actually have equity of something that can now sell for $1 billion, maybe $2 billion, kind of a flex, Like I kind of have like my own equity in something, my own ownership in something.
For the unaware, Kick is a live streaming platform that's ultimately competing with one of the biggest live streaming platforms known to man, that being Twitch. Why a lot of people might gravitate towards Kick mostly was because at the time people felt like Twitch TOS was restricting a lot of what these streamers could do, and the TOS basically affecting the overall entertainment that these streamers were able to provide on Twitch. And Kick was a nice alternative that allowed you to basically do or say whatever you wanted.
But what I will say is this: I'm going to Kick this week. I'm going to be doing Omegle, watching live sports, watching movies, prank phone calls, doing unlimited. We can literally watch together. No, I'm still celibate. But if I wanted to, we can do whatever we want. There's no terms of service over there. You guys can say whatever you want in my chat. Nobody gets banned. If you love people and I don't, no.
Wait.
I'm here.
Yo. So I'm gathering this kind of data, right? Where it's like we have two streaming platforms, Twitch and Kick. So they're both they're both streaming platforms. But then the one is bigger. Twitch is bigger than Kick. No, is this true or false?
It's true. Twitch has.
Okay. So with that being said, it's like I see how Twitch, has limited or has lower term. Well, its policies in terms of service and guidelines of creators and streamers being friendly and how they're supposed to behave. I see Kick is a lot more lenient over Twitch, and I see that the intention behind that is so that they can get a whole lot more business on their side, right? So that they can be like it's basically to be of their what is this, their value.
You're touching on value is what.
No. Wait. They're trying to be more valuable so that business can side with them, and they're using this guy Aiden Ross to endorse him so that he becomes the face of Kick and recruit all this business for them. Like that's the idea that I'm getting. And obviously they're USP or their competitive edge is in them just not limiting people in what to express, right? What they can express. They can say whatever, they can watch whatever, do whatever. But then now I feel like their USP, their competitive edge. No, not even their USP. What they're about is this gambling thing, right? Gambling. Now, what would you think is the biggest disadvantage of them using gambling so that they can attract more business? Not attract more business, but they use gambling as their whole brand, but then now they're trying to get mainstream business onto their platform. What's the dangers of like using gambling to attract mainstream business onto your platform?
Using gambling to attract mainstream business can be risky. It could damage the brand's reputation, alienate customers who aren't comfortable with gambling, and lead to regulatory and ethical concerns. It's a move that could backfire if not handled carefully. What sparked your interest in this topic?
The fact that Adin Ross is actually, you know what I'm saying, having this back and forth with this platform called Kick, right? Where, you know, he's like the poster boy, he's the main rep for Kick. But then now he's having an issue where they're not even having him on their home pages, or they don't like they're not, I don't know, promoting his live stream experiences for, you know, in exchange for this business that they got going on, right? Where he's keeping the end of his deal. He's trying to recruit other, you know, famous people to come on Kick, endorse them when they get, you know, banned from Twitch, the, you know, Kick's competitor. You know, they use, or Adin Ross goes ahead and just recruits those people and say, yo, better opportunities on Kick. Plus, you can just express how you feel whenever, however, you know what I'm saying? It's a party. So that's what got me, like, just thinking about the paradox of just, like, what, like, its intentions, you know, in that it uses this gambling image, you know what I'm saying, to recruit a whole bunch of just business and brands and influencers and shit like that.
I see where you're coming from. The situation with Adin Ross and Kick is quite a paradox. Using a figure known for a particular image like gambling to recruit mainstream business and influencers could be a double-edged sword. It might bring in a lot of attention, but could also backfire if not handled right, especially if there's a disconnect between the brand's image and its actions.
Do you have like specific world examples of how it could backfire?
Absolutely. There are examples where a misalignment between a brand's image and its actions backfired. For instance, certain companies that promoted responsible gambling later faced criticism for targeting vulnerable individuals with aggressive marketing. Another example could be a platform that champions free speech but ends up being associated with harmful or illegal activity.
Do you think activities like sports betting, right? Do you think those are just like whatever's entities ways of having people addicted to the effects of gambling or the excitement that gambling can bring to you, while at the same time having this intention to try and attract, you know, even the vulnerable people who might not be thinking that they're gambling but are actually gambling? Do you think like sports betting is you know, that's what's going on with sports betting?
Sports betting indeed walks a fine line. The excitement can attract a wide audience, but it can also lead to addictive behaviors, especially among vulnerable groups. Operators must balance creating an enjoyable experience with promoting responsible behavior, ensuring they don't exploit those susceptible to gambling addiction. So, while sports betting can be a fun pastime, it's crucial to keep an eye on the potential risks. What's your take on sports?
What's your take? What do you think the common denominator is with traditional gambling and sports betting?
Both traditional gambling and sports betting hinge on the thrill of risk and reward. They both play into the excitement of winning, but also carry the danger of addiction. The common denominator is the potential for financial loss, which can be harmful to those who aren't careful. What's your take on the connection between the two?
My take is the fact that W for you know, making me understand this shit. Okay, I get it, brother. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, at the cost of what? You know what I'm saying, look at what it has cost Adin Ross, bro. Even shit like, yo, bro, the nigga's sanity and peace and things like that, bro. Like, I feel like that shit, you know what I'm saying, kind of is on the line, dog. Cause shit like the reputation that he's building too. You feel me? Like it all just. But let's hear where he's at in terms of his relationship with Kick, right? Transactional relationships, you know, via the people who are close to you, and you spotting the fact that they're only close to you because of this little transactional situation we got going on. I wouldn't necessarily think it's a dark thing or a bad thing, because that shit is fundamental, bro. That's a fact.
You start seeing the real motives behind action and not just the surface stuff.
Yup.
Number 5, why most people fail to notice.
That's a good question.
Even when the signs are right there,
Yep.
people often don't see manipulation because, one, we want to trust, okay? Trust is essential for human connection. We hope that the world isn't out to get us. So we give people the benefit of the doubt. 2, we ignore red flags. Subtle manipulation is hard to spot, and it's easy to rationalize it. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, maybe they didn't mean it that way. It's easy to make an excuse for. 3rd, we hope for loyalty that isn't real.
Why? What do you mean?
Sometimes we project our values onto others. We assume that because we are loyal or we are supportive, others might be too.
Yeah.
But that is not always the case, okay? Understanding these blind spots is very crucial. It doesn't make you cynical. It makes you aware and helps in helping you protect your energy and focus on genuine relationships.
That's why I feel like this kind of energy, it gets potent the more you grow older. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, yo, even with me, the older I get and the more mature I am developing, you know what I'm saying? These things, they get more clear. Like the skill of spotting these patterns and this and that and the third, and you know what I'm saying? Because basically this is, what do they call it again? Psychoanalysis, bro. You know what I'm saying? It has a lot to do with just like psychoanalysis. You know what I'm saying? Analyzing, just like psychoanalyze. I don't know how to break it. Like it would take a whole. It'll take me a long time to break that down. You know what I'm saying? I just cannot find the layman terms to just break that down right now. But that's what it's giving, psychoanalyzing, and you get good at that the older you get. And I feel like that is mad necessary as a skill to develop. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it is. But my bad. I don't know why I just added that. Like, it was just something to add. You know what I'm saying? According to me.
Now, with that said, what do you do when you realize that people aren't always what they seem?
Good question.
Or what you expect? First of all, you start observing. Watch more than you talk. Notice how people act when there is nothing to gain, okay? When things don't go their way, or when you succeed. The truth is in behavior. It's not in words. Listen more than you speak. Let people reveal themselves, okay? Pay attention to their tone, what they leave unsaid, the small gestures, all of that. They tell you more than what they are saying out of their mouth, out loud.
Yeah.
Words are cheap. Actions are consistent. If someone says one thing but does another, trust the action.
Yeah.
Test loyalty subtly. You do not need drama. Just small glimpse of who truly supports you versus who envies or manipulates.
Right.
Share minor successes. See the reaction they give. Watch closely, because it is not about catching anyone out.
Huh?
It's about protecting yourself
That's true.
before it matters. Then build your circle carefully, because not everyone deserves your time or your trust or your energy. Try and surround yourself with people who celebrate your wins, who challenge you in the right ways and respects your boundaries.
Yeah.
Quality always beats quantity,
What do you mean?
especially with the people that you surround yourself with.
Oh, the depth of people, the depth of the soul, the depth of character. That's the quality to look for, to spot in people. Be like, these is the, well, I don't know if the points that she's trying to make is to, highlight how to just keep the people that are positive, or all the people to keep, or I don't know, but like that's what it's giving right now, right? That's what it's like for sure giving right now. Okay, Marsha.
So protect your energy,
Marisha, my bad.
your focus, your attention,
Yes.
your emotional
What else?
investments. They are yours to manage. Don't give them to people who drain or manipulate you. And this is not being selfish. You are being smart. Okay?
Yeah.
And finally, once that you see the games, you have a choice. You can play smart, like use your awareness to navigate without being a pawn in someone else's game.
Yes.
Or you can take a step away entirely. Because here's the thing,
Where is it?
sometimes
Yep.
the best move that you could make
What?
is to avoid the players altogether.
Nice.
Focus on your own growth.
My bad. I didn't think you'd put it in that way. You know what I'm saying? That's an unpopular take because, okay, look, I'll say it. This is the reason why I mean that take is kind of unpopular, right? Is that would, to a regular person, to a layman man or woman, that would give, saying avoiding the players altogether would mean yo avoid people, or yo avoid, you know what I'm saying, like social setups or situations and things like you know what I'm saying. It's like, but I mean, like, think about it, to somebody that has groupthink type mentalities, well, the negative part of groupthink type mentalities, you don't see a reality where, you know what I'm saying, you could ever exist, you know, without cutting people off. And obviously it's to a certain extent. Yes, there is a reality where it's like, you know, it is true, the fact that you don't live alone on this earth. You do need people to a certain extent. But, you know what I'm saying, I know what she means by, yo, cut players off, you know what I'm saying. It is good to avoid, you know, certain players altogether, especially when we're talking about like leeches, you know what I'm saying. When we're talking about, okay, trying to, you know, find a way around the dark psychology of the people closest to you, right? I mean, that's the whole point of the thing, you know what I mean. But I have a whole different take in terms of how you could use people's dark psychology, you know what I'm saying. Like, there's a necessity for that.
And
Facts.
save your energy for the ones who matter,
The ones who matter. Facts.
for the people and the goals that actually matter.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Pay attention to what people do, not what they say.
Right.
Because most people will show their true colors if you just watch them closely.
Yeah.
And reminder, the moment that you understand the rules of their game is the moment that you stop being a pawn. Now that is it for this video.
Nice one. My girl Marisha, I wouldn't know how to pronounce that. I'm going to get it right. I would hope I do. You know what I'm saying? So y'all check that out. Y'all fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to it.
A new study found that Gen Z is not thriving in their lives compared with previous generations.
Why? Yeah.
Sometimes I think to myself, you know, what do I want to do for work when I'm older? What do I want to do? And then I realize I'm already older. Do you know what I mean? Like, this was supposed to be figured out by now.
I'm 22 years old and I don't know what the fuck I want to do with my life.
I graduate uni this year, don't have a job lined up, and I still live with my parents.
Is it just me, or does it feel like Gen Z is like one of the most unhappy generations right now? Like,
Now, I feel like Gen Z has to understand that every situation is circumstantial. Well, circumstances, they are a very important consideration as to like the reality that you are witnessing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, there's this whole living in a box type scenario. There's this whole living in a box type situation type energy that's going on, where it's like, nah, you feel like you gotta be at a certain position or certain levels of reality just because of some, you know, content pieces that you've seen online. You know what I'm saying? Comparing yourself with content pages and influencers online. You feel what I'm saying? Forgetting where exactly you are. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't end at yourself. There's boundaries of your own skin and just your own space. Nah, your environment, brother. Where is your starting point? Where has your starting point been? You know what I'm saying? I feel like that being in that kind of situation can get you really tripped up really easily. And Gen Z being the ones that are at the, you know, youngest point of the people that are learning these things. I mean, people who are older than Gen Z, they realize, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these experiences, it depends on a whole lot of layers of who you are. You know what I'm saying? So Gen Z is at the lower level, so they're still coming from a whole lot of ignorance. So they gotta learn. You know what I'm saying? There always has to be a generation that learns things the hard way. I'm just gonna, put it like
Gen
that.
Z, and I feel that no matter what I've already achieved in my life, I'm still not happy.
Whatever you
Still
want.
not happy.
You decide. You pick. You choose.
Do not do that to me. I can't choose and I can never choose.
I am terrified of making decisions all the time. Teacher cannot make a decision.
Kids are not resilient. They're not resilient. If they were, we would have less people with anxiety, depression,
They're
general
still learning
unhappiness.
how,
But we don't.
bro.
Are teenagers and university students of today. They don't have the experience of grit.
We all feeling this universal feeling that we just don't care because at the end of the day, nothing really matters. Truly, like, what are we doing with our lives?
Yo, because another thing, you have to differentiate between nihilists. I don't know if y'all know the nihilists that are online perpetuating their own POV on reality. You know what I'm saying? Let me just refresh y'all, on what nihilism is in case y'all forgot type shit. Well, I forgot. You know what I'm saying? Wait, I forgot. So I gotta hit my boy Copilot with it. It's just I don't know why you keep wanting these credentials for me to sign in, bro, every time when I'm, oh my god, oh my jeez, every time, same ass device, and this nigga always wants me to sign in, but I need your help. I don't give a fuck. Listen to me. Alright, let's do it. Copilot. What is nihilism? What is nihilism?
Nihilism is a philosophical belief that life is inherently meaningless.
Okay, cool. So now, since we just heard from this, means nothing, right?
Teenagers and university students of today. They don't have the experience of grit.
We all feeling this universal feeling that we just don't care because at the end of the day, nothing really matters. Truly, like, what are we doing with our lives?
And another thing is that, you know what I'm saying, you have all this kind of information where you get somebody like that lady right there who says nothing really matters, we don't really care. And then you as the younger, because the youngest people in society are always the ones that are most impressionable, you know what I'm saying, in terms of experience, right? You're always impressionable. You have a big old blank slate, and so you got big old space to just like take all this stuff in. I'm saying careful what you choose now. I'm saying careful what you take in now. You know what I mean, that's also important. That could like shape a generation because it's with you who chooses how to take in the information that you do take in, and pushing the bullshit to the side, whatever that means for you, you're gonna shape what you pour into the next generation. You see what I'm saying? So that whole cycle is like consideration is important for that whole system of things.
It doesn't take much to see that Gen Z is scared of getting older. Just look at their obsession with skincare routines or the full-on roast sessions on TikTok for anyone over the age of 30 without Botox. But no matter.
But do you think there has ever been a generation that's never been scared of aging? Let me ask Copilot. Yo, Copilot.
Hey there. Yep.
Yo, has there ever been a generation that has never been scared of aging?
Not really. Every generation seems to grapple with aging. It's pretty universal.
Yeah.
Whether it's about
what's the example of the boomer generation's version of being scared of aging? What did they do?
For baby boomers, the fear of aging often led to a focus on youthfulness. They were big on anti-aging products.
Anti-aging products. So, you know what I'm saying? Ever since the boomers, my boy. Ever since the boomers, I feel like the difference is that right now, you know what I'm saying, there's all this access to these people who are insecure. You know what I'm saying? We can see all of it online. Whereas with the baby boomers, you know what I'm saying, they had a sense of mystery to them. So they were dying like in private, well, not dying, but like suffering in private, you know what I'm saying? The whole POV of them being afraid of aging, that was fucking with their mentals in private, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have all this internet to just like project all this shit onto, you know what I'm saying?
No matter how much retinol they slather on at night, they can't just stop growing up. Or can they? Because Gen Z will certainly try to anyway. They took the millennial not wanting to adult starter pack and then decided to go all in, taking longer to reach adulthood and relying more on their parents than any generations past. Between putting off every major life milestone, dodging commitments like a bad first date, and cocooning themselves from things that are...
I'd say that's the one major difference between like generations. I feel like it's their hetero, sexual, activities, like, you know what I'm saying, the men and the women of the generation, how they behave with one another, that's been different, right? That's been different. The whole thing of Gen Z, them avoiding, even going on these first dates, you know what I'm saying? These men ain't even approaching the woman these days, you know what I'm saying? That's new. I don't think, millennials definitely, you know what I'm saying, we're still optimistic about that kind of game, but Gen Z's, they're not having none of that, bro. They're not having none of that, Brian. It's clear. You know what I'm saying?
Hard. Gen Z is working overtime to try and stop the clock before they hit 21. But with mantras like "you've got plenty of time" and "don't settle" ringing in their ears, it's no wonder that they find themselves stuck in a loop of decision paralysis. And often, even when they want to take a move forward, they can't convince themselves to take that first step. So it's time to get into it, how Gen Z knows so much but does so little, and why they're so reluctant to step out into the world and grow up.
Know so much but have done so little.
Now, we know that the teenage mind is still one under construction. Their brains are still in that stage of rapid growth, and the prefrontal cortex, part of the brain that handles judgment and impulse control, is only half-baked. So it's no surprise that historically, teens have always hit the gas before the brake in terms of decision-making. What's interesting now, though, is that this natural part of growing up just isn't happening as much anymore, and it feels like we're living in this weird time where children are quick to take on adult personas and aesthetics, but are reluctant to actually take action in adult responsibilities when they come of age. They just don't seem to want to take that first step and break out into the world and start building real independence.
Honey, I think we need to buy a house. I've been thinking about it. Buying a home right now is a smart investment for us and the kids. If I just went to sleep right now, I wouldn't have to spend money on that.
That's real shit, golly.
Rather, left on their own, they're more prone to settling into the glow of their phones. Honestly, aren't we all know? But as said here, they're slowing down and they're in less of a hurry to do the kind of anxiety-provoking things that adults do. And we're finding these trends to be true across economic and social spectrums. This isn't just a white upper-middle-class phenomenon. We see this in things like the declining number of teenagers learning to drive, as just under 40% of teenagers aged 16 to 19 had their licenses in 2021, a 24% decline since 1995. My birth year, if you care. But I remember as teenagers, getting your driver's license was like the most important thing in high school. It meant no more relying on parents for rides, late night hangouts without...
Oh, shit, I'll be honest, bro. I'll be honest, okay. She says she's 95, I'm 96. Look, I'm at the cusp, right? Where it's like, I think it's believed to be the cusp of the generation and millennium type shit. Co-pilot, what generation does 96 fall under?
Hey, people born in 96 are typically considered millennials. What sparked your interest?
Nah, I don't know. Okay, so millennial, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I literally don't fall into this whole thing of like making these things that they've made important for myself. You know what I'm saying? To me, I feel like I'm just, depending on who you're asking, I'm the exception. You know what I'm saying? Because I already have like my own independent way of thinking. There's some things that like I agree with the older generation. There's some things I agree with like boomers on. You know what I'm saying? There's some things I agree with like what is that other one? Yeah, generationally. That's why like I literally, older people, you know what I'm saying, the old souls of the world, there's some things that I heavily agree with them on in terms of, how to gain shit like wisdom, long-term understanding of how reality works, things like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the deeper parts of the earth. You know what I'm saying? I mess with the older generations for that. They can relay that beautifully. The younger niggas, you know what I'm saying, making that quick money. You know what I'm saying? Opportunities, things like that. And opportunities today are mad ripe. They know the quick loopholes, rabbit holes to get into in terms of that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I leave all the other bullshit and just like, yeah, you know what I mean? I humble myself in like learning from them in terms of those kind of areas. All the other bullshit aside, obviously. You feel what I'm saying? But now, when we talk about things like driver's licenses, you know what I'm saying? It's neither here nor there. I feel like it's, with me, it was about like just analyzing my intention with the thing. Do I need the thing? My lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? How I get around in my spot. You know what I'm saying? It's very important to get to a point where if you don't need it, be honest with yourself. Don't get it. It's going to be an unnecessary expense. You feel what I'm saying? Unless you are the shallow kind. That's why I'm like, I've been the exception. I'm saying I never looked at like these shallow needs where it's like, I need a car just to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, for women, get around conveniently in terms of, my affairs with women and shit like that. It's like, if we're not making money, if it's not for business, we're not doing it. But then that's why there's things like, opportunities to just make that shit make money. You know what I'm saying? Have it deliver somewhere. Have it deliver people, deliver food, deliver whatever. You feel what I'm saying? And then that's a reason to get a car. But just for my own personal sake, you know what I'm saying? I'm right here in front of the screen. I'm trying to, I'm getting this money online too. And that's another thing that this Gen Z generation has helped me just like get into. You know what I'm saying?
Permission were possible, and suddenly the whole city was within reach. But that's just something that teenagers aren't interested in anymore. And this is just one example of a mix of adult things that young adults just aren't pursuing. Fewer young adult men ages 16 to 24 are settled into permanent jobs, and fewer men and women are married with children today than in the 1950s. And that's not to say that these life choices are necessarily for everyone, just that overall there's a lot less urgency to meet these milestones. Take this Gen Z's perspective, for instance, Elise Monsanto plans to get around to some of the grown-up milestones that generally mark early adulthood. She's just not in a rush. She didn't get her driver's license until she was 20. She and her friends haven't had their first boyfriends. Now, at 22, she doesn't drink, though she's sure at some point she will. And she continues to say, I think it's more of a hesitancy thing, a little bit scared to start. I guess the same thing with driving. And she's not alone in this, as this is the general consensus and mindset for most of modern young adults.
And I feel like here's another thing why people of this generation find it, or they reluctantly come to these decisions, right? Reluctantly. It's because of the oversaturation of, the need for it. Well, not the oversaturate, but like the perception that you really need these things and you really gotta go at it. More and more people have went at it without any success, without any just like attractive fruits. You know what I'm saying? If the fruit was attractive enough, a lot more people have been in that kind of thinking, in that kind of reality, that it devalued the reality of it. Like a whole lot more people, for example, they graduate with these degrees and blah blah blah, to a point where they don't guarantee no jobs no more, and to a point where subsequently they just leave you with a whole bunch of debt. You know what I'm saying? And therefore a whole lot of those experiences, a whole lot of those negative experiences have been seen for people to be reluctant in getting a degree traditionally. You know what I'm saying? So for example, shit like that. You feel me? I feel like that's what also has devalued the ambition for these traditional things by this generation. You feel me?
Adults, whether it's taking on financial responsibilities, moving out of your family home, entering long-term relationships, or anything in between, they just want to figure it out when it comes up.
So I've been living with my boyfriend for a year. We moved to a new city and he got a job at a university. I've been trying to get him to get on the health insurance there. It's like a university program. I've been nudging him to do it for months. We've been here for like...
You're probably the older one in the relationship, I would guess.
6 months now. And he doesn't seem to be able to do it. And then I learned that he actually hasn't even been to the dentist in 20 years. Can't seem to get his health insurance.
I ain't gonna lie. I kind of relate.
I keep saying, okay, let's sit down and do it. I'm so tired of it.
But while more kids these days seem to be struggling to launch into adulthood, this isn't a novice phenomenon. We first saw this concept of a failure to launch come up with the introduction of Peter Pan syndrome in 1983 by American psychologist Dr. Dan Killey. In his book, The Peter Pan Syndrome, Men Who Never Grow Up, he describes emotionally stunted men who struggle with relationships, commitment, and responsibility. People with characteristics of Peter Pan syndrome may find it challenging to adopt adult responsibilities. They have difficulty maintaining healthy relationships and have a fond nostalgia for their youth. While most people may occasionally long for the simplicity of childhood, people with Peter Pan syndrome can have difficulty living a typical adult life. But while it's tempting to use Peter Pan syndrome as a catch-all explanation for what's going on, the reality of what we're dealing with is a bit more nuanced. Rather than young adults never truly growing up, this period of time between teenagehood and adulthood has seemed to just be drawing out longer than normal. Jeffrey Arnett, an American psychologist who studies the transition from adolescence to adulthood, proposed that people in this stage of life weren't even full adults. Instead, they were emerging adults, finding their place in a world that no longer held just one or two possible paths. When he first coined the term, he set the age range at 18 to 25. He now considers the stage of life to last until about age 29. He says people are taking longer to find a stable place in the adult world. So basically, 29 is the new 21 these days. And this emerging adulthood stage is all about figuring out who you are career-wise, romantically, and even how you present yourself to the world. And what better way to experiment with your identity than trying on different versions of yourself through scent. Sorry for the cheesy transition.
Okay.
To me, shoot for months.
Slow down. Children at play.
One of the reasons why kids are taking their time growing up is because, well, they've been raised that way. In somewhat of an unexpected twist, the extra nurturing and increased supervision that is known of Gen Z childhoods has actually contributed to a slower, more cautious approach to adulthood. Rather than speeding up their independence, this added support can sometimes lead to a more sluggish transition as they take longer to navigate life's milestones on their own.
Many Gen Xers, for example, grew up with a lot of trauma. Our parents were immigrants often. They were new to this country. They were coming from different situations, and they brought what they knew to be right to us. Many of us are parenting our kids, and we've been trying to avoid traumatizing our kids the way we were traumatized. In doing so, we've created very cushy lives for them. I often joke that my kids live on an all-inclusive resort. We had a lot of hustle. We had a lot of desire to get out of the house. We had a lot of desire to get a job and pay for things for ourselves because our parents weren't going to buy them for us. This generation is so used to just getting what they want that they completely avoid situations they might be in that cause reduction. I'm generalizing here, of course, but for the most part, what I see in Gen Z is a real fear of reduction, a real fear of risk-taking, a real lack of resilience, amazing emotional language, pretty healthy self-esteem, but the inability to go headfirst into something that's difficult or challenging.
This is because, for one, the decreased birth rates we've been seeing over the years has changed the way that parents raise their children. Funny enough, you would think that less children means more time to raise them well, but actually it can lead to coddling if you're not using that time and effort properly. As parents have fewer children and later in life, they nurture them more carefully, which in turn delays independence. Gen Z has been under more adult supervision than previous generations. Their playdates were carefully watched. Their parents have monitored.
But even that whole coddling the kids type conversation, I feel like it all depends on where you're from, really. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're from a place where the economy is so bad that no parent is at home freaking coddling those kids, you know what I'm saying? Because the economy of that area is just that terrible. It's like no parent is home. All those parents are dependent on just like having somebody else supervise those kids, aka, you know what I'm saying, the creche system, the school system. You feel what I'm saying? It's nothing but just like overglorified babysitting systems. You feel what I'm saying? And you feel me, you know, in places or areas where the economy can have players that can be stable enough to be around, you know what I'm saying, because they have enough money to be around, you know, enough, you know, passive opportunities, enough opportunities to passively make money so that you can be around physically, you know what I'm saying? That's where the over coddling thing happens. And you know what I'm saying, even in that kind of area, like the kids, they grow up neglected to a certain degree. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like, man, come on, bro. It's all in the hands of the beholder of the tools to be able to raise their kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like the tools that you have. It's about how you use them, bro. You know what I mean? And I feel like the one common denominator is people listening to, you know, general narratives, propaganda. You know, general ideas in how to go about parenting your kids. Or the general idea of when to have kids. You know what I'm saying? Or the general idea, like, I feel like Gen Z is just coming out of that whole situation where it's just one general thing that we have. Because, you know what I'm saying? It was, the age of information wasn't that potent, right? Right now it's potent. Like, everybody has access to this to a whole bunch of information easily. So, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, to me, it might just be analysis paralysis. It's just an overstimulation of decisions to make. A whole lot of examples of people who have had children in their younger years, you know, with the good and the bad aspects of that, and people who have had kids in their older years, good and bad in that. You know what I'm saying? They like, nah, you know what, it's just too much. I like that. That's just what I think. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much for them to decide. It's, you know, overstimulating. It's overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? Overwhelming. They just gotta get back to their own selves, listen to their own intuitions, and just like let that rip. You know what I'm saying? Just pop their shit that way. Like, come on, man.
Monitor their whereabouts on their phones, which may be safe.
Okay, I kind of forgot what point she was making. I'm gonna have to just like remind myself there.
Safer, but means they're not figuring things out on their own. While there are plenty of problems with having too many kids, like neglect, one positive thing that does come out of it is that it almost forces their children to grow up quicker because they need the kids to take on more responsibilities for the household to function. And I'm by no means saying that we all need to get on the 18 kids and counting train for our children to succeed, but it is something that parents with a gaggle of children don't have to think about because it just naturally happens. When we aren't aware of how much hand-holding we're giving our children, then we accidentally are preventing learning opportunities for them, and they miss the chance to make the next steps in their development. Because while it's normal for a parent to help their child, say, make their first resume, it's not normal for a parent to call an employer after an interview to reinforce their child's application, something I've experienced in the workplace before. Parents beginning with my generation of boomers have invested more of their self-worth in their children's success. When a young adult is struggling, parents may unintentionally become more overprotective, over-involved, or intervene in ways that undermine the young adult's ability to succeed. Most parents provide love and nurturance, but often don't offer the backbone to say no or exhibit confidence in the young adult to step up to the challenge.
We've all heard of the helicopter parent, right? This is the parent who's always at school meetings, doing all of the talking and double checking the homework. Their intention is usually to protect and support their child. But research has shown that sometimes this can cause children to feel anxious and can actually hinder their ability to develop independence and problem solving skills at home.
For sure.
Overall, parents these days are doing more.
They end up not being able to make those decisions by their own selves.
And more for their children.
So you end up needing your mother even at the age of 65. You know what I'm saying? That time, you know what I'm saying? For example, RIP moms. You feel me? She done rested her soul like, you know, a while back, but you still need that. You know what I'm saying? Just because your psychology has developed into that. You know I'm saying.
With honest hearts of just trying to help, but they're really hindering their children's ability to take on the skill set when they're supposed to learn it, not when they're 25. It's not enough anymore to get your kid dressed, feed them, and send them off to school. Raising a child is a 24/7 preoccupation. A child's success in life, the new thinking goes, relies on a series of carefully orchestrated opportunities provided by parents who believe a child's future prosperity rides on the right choice of mommy and me class. The supercharged involvement continues throughout childhood. Parents spend all their waking hours crafting emails to teachers about how their kids learn best, hopping from one activity to the next, hoping to discover their child's thing, and diving into rabbit holes of internet research about the right way to get their kid to eat their vegetables. I feel a little bit called out. Another factor worth mentioning, and one that I've brought up before, is the noticeable decline in independent play among children. But this isn't just for their emotional and social development, it also plays a crucial role in building independence. Kids need time alone to play without advice or interruption so that they can learn to navigate challenges and build resilience on their own. Because if you see your child playing and about to fail at something and you stop them before it happens, then they aren't going to, first of all, learn the consequences of that failure, but also learn that failing isn't the end of the world. Of course,
it's a very interesting take. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course, this is all within reason, and you should still set your child up to not seriously hurt themselves.
Yeah.
But if, say, another kid is playing a way that your child doesn't like, and you solve that conflict for them every time, then they won't learn how to speak up and stand up for themselves.
I give the kids enough time to be in the productive struggle, and I know this because I'm seeing their behavior issues and their patience issues, and they think that when they need help, they're going to get it right away. And so we need to normalize saying, hey, I see that you're frustrated with this thing. It's just that I can't help you right now, and I would like you to try it by yourself.
Yep.
Because I think there's this misconception that if you're not actively on top of a kid teaching them 24/7 during the workday, that you are somehow a bad teacher. And that's not true.
Right.
Some of these kids need to be in the struggle and learn what that feels like on their own.
The purpose of childhood is to allow kids to take risks, things that involve getting all kinds of hurt, and to practice the skills they will need as adults while they're still safely under their parents' roof. Childhood exists to allow kids to hazard an unpredictable friend, lose a ball game, stand up to a bully, pick themselves up, offer another kid a hand. We want them to venture out and get their hearts broken, try and fail, and at last succeed, all while we're still in the next bedroom. That's what a happy childhood is, experiencing all the pains of adulthood in smaller doses.
But let me tell you what's interesting about that kind of thing, right? That kind of reality is the fact that you might fuck around and have a child who will think that you letting them learn, you letting go at some point so that they can experience failing, so that they can learn from that. They might just like internalize that as hate, right? They might internalize that as just like you purposefully trying. Well, it is like intentional. You know what I'm saying? The idea is intentional for you to let them learn in that sense, in those senses. But it's like they might internalize that as like you being the enemy at the end of the day. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah.
So that they build up immunity to the poison of heartache and loss.
Right.
And I must say that quote is a little bit intense.
Why?
I feel anyways, like a little bit too much pick yourself up by the bootstraps, but I think the general idea is still good. With that, I did read the book Bad Therapy in preparation for this video, and I do recommend it because it has a lot of interesting insights, but I also think it was a little bit problematic in some areas. I just wanted to share that in case you're also interested in reading it.
European moms have been doing this forever and without gentle parents and Pinterest boards. Back home, you talk to figure it out. No one is hovering over with a backup toy and a snack every 5 minutes. If you fall, you get up. If you get bored, well, you'll figure it out. By age of 4 or 5, you already fold in laundry, setting up the table, helping cook. Not as chores, but because you're part of this family. It builds ownership, not entitlement.
Kids need to fail and fail hard when it still doesn't matter. That's why jobs as teenagers are so important, because if you screw up inventory or are late for the third time and get fired, thank God that lesson was learned when you were working at Wendy's as opposed to your first big corporate gig. Kids are supposed to mess up, like having fallouts with friends, flunking tests, and getting cut from the volleyball team, because that's what teaches them how to adapt and keep moving forward. In the end, they discover that the feeling of loss or failure doesn't last forever, or that they're capable of pushing through to succeed the next time. It also makes them less scared and better able to navigate and assess risks in the future. And so small failures and injuries help children rather than hurt them. I also know it's so much easier said than done, like when you're watching your child about to make a mistake and you just have to let them do it. It's not a good time, but the kids need it. This also goes right in line with parents being more scared for their children than ever before.
And I feel like more than the kids needing it, the parents need it too. Because obviously, you know what I'm saying, you creating a kid, that's a projection of yourself onto reality, right? You just replicated, 50% of yourself. Other people would say arguably like, you know what I'm saying, a less percentage because of all maybe other ethnicities that have made you before creating a replica of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but the point is that you're projecting your own being onto the world, you know what I'm saying, through your child. So obviously, you know, if you came up mad coddled, you know what I'm saying, mad just attached to the emotional connection of things, you know what I mean, it's hard for you to just let let reality be reality. Let go and let God, other people would say, right? Just let the universe teach the lesson to the kid. You know what I'm saying? If you were the one that never developed that way, it's gonna be hard for you letting your kid, go through it. It's gonna be hard letting your kid be taught by the world. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, you getting to a point where you can let your kid be taught by lessons and reality, you're gonna have to get to that point first. So you're gonna have to be a parent that have sensed it or have experienced it to a certain degree, so that you can impart it on your kid and be like, no, it's okay for it to happen to my kid. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to not having went through it. It's gonna crush you seeing your kid go through it without you having went through it. And I feel like to some degree that is some other people's lessons learned. You know what I'm saying? You learn these lessons through your kid, just like going through whatever that you ain't went through, and then it just crushes you seeing them, because for some reason you can't even control the situation. You know what I'm saying? And then, and I feel like those realities are just created a lot nowadays from people who just, create co-parenting environments instead of just like, the other option of a reality type shit.
As the increase in child-related crimes and news have been shoved down our throats for decades now.
Damn.
So it would only make sense that parents are more scared to let their kids do things like walk to the corner store alone. Parents are more hesitant. They're less comfortable allowing their children to be uncomfortable. Confidence and skills such as problem solving and conflict resolution are born from discomfort, which parents and schools increasingly shield children and teens from. This has some good effects. Young people are cultured and sensitive and aware of what's going on in the world. It's a positive that they're not drinking and are avoiding what are generally considered negative outcomes, such as teen pregnancy, but it also means that they're having a hard time fully leaving the nest and are more anxious.
So what are some of these things that could be like overprotective, not letting you meet friends if they don't know everything about them and know their family, and keep you in the house and not allow you opportunities to socialize? It could look like you are not allowed to gain milestones of freedom in order to gain independence. That can be one of the things where they restrict you too much, and
that's what teenagers tell themselves all the time.
Hinder your growth.
Like, my parents are the devil, bro. Like, what? They actually hate me, blah blah, etc. Right?
And make you in turn even more dependent on them.
The problem is when parents don't let their kids get uncomfortable or try hard things when they're ready, keyword ready, those moments may never come. Children's brains are wired to chase independence that feels just out of reach, something new and exciting and slightly challenging. If that window is missed, however, the drive to stretch themselves can fade. For example, offering your 9-year-old the opportunity to run into a store on their own and grab some milk can feel like an exciting adventure. It's unfamiliar, slightly outside of their comfort zone, and gives them a sense of real responsibility. But on the other hand, asking a 16-year-old to do the same thing just doesn't carry the same weight, because by then it's well within their realm of capability and not a novelty, so the opportunity to build independence has already passed. What this means is that you need to give kids a chance at independence at the right time when they pique interest, or they won't take it. As said in Bad Therapy, I talked to mothers who had forbidden their kids to walk around the neighborhoods when they were little. By the time the kids turned 13, they couldn't be dislodged from the house.
Damn. Look, and this one can even be an attest to just like my own life experiences. I mean, look at what I'm doing though for money. Literally, look at what I'm doing for money. I'm in front of this camera, chopping up some content, chopping shit up, like giving my own POV on some shit. But that also does have its own benefits too, because we're helping each other grow. But anyway, look at this. Like I grew up in an environment where obviously, by a certain time, nigga, you gotta be in the house and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like when the street lights come on, or which, what I'm saying, that could be just depending on where you're from and how you grew up. That could be mad early or like way late. You know what I'm saying? And like I had to, and the point that I'm trying to make is that having been a strict thing, you know what I'm saying, for me, I had experiences where I fell short of that, right? And me falling short of that, the consequence left me so sensitive that there was a time when I didn't want to be out the house anymore like that. You know what I'm saying? Because of just like how this consequence like leaves me, like the effect of this consequence type shit. You know what I'm saying? To me, like it left me so sensitive that, you know what, I don't even want to deal with that reality altogether. So I ended up, being the person who's constantly in the house, bro. Like, as I said though, I'm at the cusp of like the end of millennial, right? Towards the beginning of Gen Z, and that generation is the generation that's just like connected with, just being internalized, bro, like just being to themselves and things like that. And for me, that ended up just being the appeal, bro. Just be to myself, like fuck the streets, you know what I'm saying? And another thing that just helped me, or helped that trajectory of mine just become a reality is the fact that I'm a creator at heart, bro. Like I'm a creative being, you know what I'm saying? So, grabbing inspiration from shit like my fantasies and things like that, creating cool shit within my own spaces. That was the benefit of it for me. You know what I'm saying? But this is mad true. Like, I'm mad relate with this, no cap.
Having been trained to accept the crammed confines of a cage, by the time the door is flung open, when he's eligible to get his driver license, say, he may have surrendered to his captivity. As I was writing this,
but then now you see, it's about what you make it mean. You know what I'm saying? One of the beautiful things about like being alone the whole time or preferring that is that, you know what I'm saying, to me, it didn't mean captivity. You know what I'm saying? It didn't mean, yo, it's the death of da-da-da, like how I'm living, this is where dreams go to like die, but like you have to be out there grabbing inspiration, this, that, the third. To me, it was like, bro, this is, to me, it's not captivity. This is the free me, actually. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like how you make the shit mean, bro, that dictates how the fuck the shit goes or how it feels to you.
I actually realized that a version of that happened to me last week when my 4-year-old did a whole shower routine on his own, which I guess if you're not a mom of young kids, like, might not seem like that big of a deal. But it was the first time that he didn't ask for any help and went from being covered in mud to putting his fresh clothes on in his room. And I was honestly so proud of him. Like, obviously kids grow and learn these things, but working on this video made me think about how easy it would have been to keep doing parts of the routine for him just out of habit and not giving him a shot at all. But the point being that no amount of begging and scolding children to do tasks is going to make them want to do it. And so you need to seize the opportunity of when they're ready for it. As this student says, look, by the time my parents felt it was safe for me to play outside, I was like 13 and had no interest in playing outside.
Exactly, bro. Like, by the time that opportunity gets there, it's like, you know, you don't have any interest. This is what I've been thinking about too, though, on that. I want to extrapolate that kind of situation in a situation where you have delayed success or where your environment forces you to delay your gratification in terms of success and what you're ambitious towards, right? And getting that at a later stage in life. You know what I'm saying? I've had moments where I've realized that, okay, my life needs me to just delay my gratification, and that's when I would delay my gratification would allow me to create sort of a stable sustenance, right? You know, because for example, bro, like if you have a whole bunch of money and then you save more than what other people save of that same portion of money. You know what I'm saying? You save that money, like your future, more of your future is secure, so to speak, financially speaking, as far as finances go, right? So it's like there's such a thing as being overly careful. Oh, I guess my question is there such a thing as being overly careful? Because if you see these kids, like by age of 13, that was only when they were allowed to go outside. By the time they are 13, they're not even interested to go outside because they've been told not to go outside, you know, up until the age of 13. Now imagine like you do get like, I don't know, your financial breakthrough. And then by the time you get to a age where you feel like you've been supposed to have gotten that, you're probably not even interested in the things that you thought you was going to enjoy with this financial breakthrough, right? Because by that time you're probably like, you know, end of your middle ages. You're probably like senior citizens, damn near. You're probably like 60s, and only then you pop financially, let's say, for an example. You know what I'm saying? The idea is like, I ain't interested in clubbing that like anymore. I ain't interested in all these cars and all this anymore. Like, I ain't even interested in having a family. That can't be the reality. You know what I'm saying? It's like, god damn, I'll just like shit, bury me my millions, nigga. Bury me my material facts. You know what I'm saying? That period
was completely missed. It never happened.
And I don't even think that's wrong completely. You know what I'm saying?
And what happens next to these kids that don't get to practice independence is they end up with less self-confidence, have worse social skills, are less tolerant of uncertainty, and overall are less resilient. I really love this quote on the matter. We assumed with perfect faith and wholly without evidence that gentler parenting could only produce thriving kids. Shouldn't flowers bloom in powdered sugar? Turns out they grow best in dirt. Okay. Something else that's unique to Gen Z is that they're the generation that has the most mental health awareness and yet are arguably struggling the most. For a generation that's mantra is everyone needs therapy, they haven't really made many mental health strides themselves. When we're looking at statistics,
bro, everybody needs therapy, including the therapist. Now, imagine like, you know, breaking down the reality where even the therapist needs therapy. Where the fuck are we getting this therapy? That's why everybody's freaking directionless, because even the therapist, they copy paste some shit that probably got regurgitated by ChatGPT. AKA probably was regurgitated by a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying, information sources that has existed, that has gotten your patient to be as confused as they are right now. And now all you doing is regurgitating that same information to them as the therapist that needs therapy yourself. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, Damn, this yo, interesting position to be in, man. Facts.
Anyway, they talk of wellness while also downward spiraling into the most unwell, depressed, and anxious generation in recent history.
Damn.
A 2023 Gallup survey found that almost half of Gen Zers, ages 12 to 26, often or always feel anxious, and more than 1 in 5 often or always feel depressed. They're also more likely to report that they've received treatment or therapy from a mental health professional, compared with 26% of Gen Xers, 22% of baby.
I'm not gonna lie, dog. I've been in therapy myself, bro, and like the result from out of it, like, nah, I wouldn't say do it. But as I said again, bro, like, I'm part of the exception where I understand, the self. I'm not saying I understand myself completely, because, you know what I'm saying, there's a whole lot of work still to do there. But I ended up, leaning into myself, leaning into understanding my own physics, bro, like from deep within, you know what I'm saying, and not being afraid of what I was faced with. You know what I'm saying? Other people call those ghosts, other people call those demons, other people call those mental illness issues that you gotta get away from. But I feel like once you face those kind of things about yourself, you end up knowing how to fix. Well, you end up knowing at least where the solution might just lie. You know what I mean? And at least by that time, you have a direction to walk, bro. Now do that. And now that's your therapy right there. You know what I'm saying? Because as I'm saying, bro, all these therapists right now, bro, they need a whole bunch of therapy themselves, bro. You know what I'm saying? And as somebody who's been in therapy, like, man, dog, I seen this clear as day, brother.
Baby boomers and 15% of older adults.
Because it's a problem when a therapist blames the fact that, bro, you just been unemployed. It's like, okay, cool. If that's the solution, the fact that I've just been unemployed, I've just been, bro, you're not ugly, you're just broke. Type scenario. But then, like, it's cool. You don't think I've realized that? I'm thinking it's something deeper. That's why I came to see you. But now you taking me back to the thing that I already knew. You know what I'm saying? My problem was not the fact that my mind or my psychology has revealed the truth to me. The fact that is I ain't even believe that that's the truth for me. I'm scared of like facing that kind of reality, or you know what I'm saying? So it's like the work of the therapist is not as deep as we make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you find a generation like Gen Z having made therapy such a thing, but they still so twisted. They still more twisted than ever.
Comparison, this study shows that younger adults belonging to Gen Z were a more psychologically vulnerable population compared to older adults belonging to the baby boomer cohort, who demonstrated more resiliency in mental health outcomes.
Okay.
Now, I need to clarify that this isn't to discount all the benefits of mental health awareness that Gen Z has normalized. Okay. And there's also so many external reasons for the mental health decline as we live in, at least I think, is a unique time with unique challenges. But at least one of the reasons Gen Z is behind other generations in terms of mental health is because for a lot of them, they seem to be too stuck in the past to make any moves forward. Because the thing with therapy, warning, I'm about to hate on therapy a little bit, but give me a chance.
I just did. You know what I'm saying? Go in, go crazy. The thing with therapy
is that it's not in fact universally good and can in certain circumstances do more harm than good. Besides the classic problem of picking the wrong therapist or using the wrong techniques in sessions, we're also seeing how being over therapized can backfire and sometimes make problems worse. Because there is a fine line between processing an experience to make it manageable and reliving it and re-traumatizing yourself.
Did you know that talk therapy can actually be re-traumatizing for trauma, and that you cannot, in fact, heal your trauma by talking about it? That's because trauma is not stored consciously. It's deep back in subcortical, subconscious part of the brain, and it is stored as physical sensations in the body.
As said here, there's a type of talking about a traumatic event, usually a breakup or a situation where the subject feels they've been wronged and are certain they were in the right, that sounds obsessional to the listener. When someone is obsessive about talking about their injury, it sounds like they are feeding rather diminishing it. When we get fed up with our friends doing this, we may say that they are milking it. This is the psychological equivalent of scratching a mosquito bite. If you don't stop scratching it, it is going to continue to itch and may become infected.
Yeah.
And this part of today's video is brought to you by a corrupt
and accept it for what it is, learn from it, and use that inner present power to create a future that we want.
It's important to put trauma in the past, otherwise a life can be lived as though it is still happening when it is in fact over. If you process the experience in a way that puts distance between then and now, you can lead a fuller life in the present and be freer of your past. And that's a problem with Gen Z that I've also been sucked into, is the idea of therapy for life, because it shouldn't be normal to be in therapy for life, and you should be having these conversations with your therapist about an end date, because that's the whole point, is getting coping skills and applying them and then moving on. Easier said than done, obviously. But this idea that every person has trauma is most likely exaggerated and can even mess with our resilience. Reminiscing with a friend, cracking a joke with your spouse you wouldn't dare make with anyone else, helping your cousin box up her apartment without talking about your problems, often aids recovery far more than sitting around in a room full of sad people. Therapy can hijack our normal processes of resilience, interrupting our psyche's ability to heal itself.
Yeah, it's like that parent that wants to take control of things instead of letting the kid just like learn through experience, learn through, you know what I'm saying, being scared in that dark. You know what I'm saying? Being scared in that dark stepping on a landmine that should blast in your leg off, and then them believing that, yo, there really are demons in the dark that'll chop your leg off type shit. Nah, bro, you just stepped on the landmine, but that's because you're not supposed to be out in the dark, like, type shit, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, like, I feel like that's all it is, bro. Just let them learn, nigga. Not everybody need therapy, or not everybody needs therapy always. You know what I'm saying? Let that be a phase. Let that be a phase where you can see the limitation of therapy and be like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go at this shit myself. Facts. And create my own truths, my own realities, my own laws. You feel me?
Its own way.
That just... Let me let her continue. My bad.
At its own time. Think of it this way. Group therapy for those who experienced loss or disaster forces the coping to hang out with the sad. This may make the relatively resilient sadder and prompt the sad to stew. The most dejected steer the ship to planet misery, with everyone else trapped inside.
With misery loving company type shit.
I run into this a lot with people who've been in therapy a long time. Here's my thought. If you've been in therapy for 10 years and it's not getting any better, find another therapist or try something else. Problem with therapy is that it tends to be very cognitive based. What I mean by that is that people can spend a lot of time analyzing themselves, examining their thought process, getting a lot of insight, which is good. But sometimes at the end of the day, all you get is more insight. Do you actually feel any better?
And so it's being said that
overly stimulated by too much information.
Ruminating on the past is one of the ways preventing young adults from taking the next step in life, because either they feel held back from what happened to them because it feels so much in real time because they keep focusing on it, or they just can't think past it because it takes up so much mental space. It's the difference between adopting a...
Oh, that's an interesting one. You cannot think past it because it's taking so much fucking mental space, bro. Get that shit on.
An action mindset versus a state mindset. The action mindset means you're focusing on the task at hand and making moves to progress to your goals. Whereas the state mindset is where you can't get out of your head and your emotions enough to get the ball rolling in life. And I don't want to put a label on everyone who goes to therapy, because obviously that's not the case. But we do see a lot of young people holding on to what's happened to them as their identity and not being able to see past it. When we use our trauma as a shield from the world's expectations, we end up stuck. Our minds stay in survival mode, and growing into the next chapter becomes increasingly impossible. Because resilience isn't something that experts can help you build in a 1-hour session. Growth comes from moving through life, facing challenges, and surmounting them. And that's how humans have always done it.
Yeah, and I feel like, yo, check it out though. This whole thing is actions and like what you have to do to satisfy your own self. That's a whole nother video though. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But yeah, let's finish this off.
Rise above the obstacles and focus on the future. Ask any millennial who had a keep calm and carry on poster in their locker in 2010.
Keep calm meme, I remember that shit.
But perhaps the biggest factor preventing Gen Z from making progress towards their future is the overwhelming sense of decision paralysis. We know that 1 in 4 people around the world struggle with feelings of decision paralysis, with 53% feeling ill-equipped to manage decisions, and 29% feeling that even the smallest doubt can stop them from taking action.
Ever since like 2021, 22, I swear something in my like chemistry has changed, which maybe it's because of given events that we all went through the year prior. But like I used to be so motivated, driven, and would get things done so quick. And now I'm noticing like a pattern in myself in multiple different scenarios. Like with decision making, I'm having the worst decision paralysis and not being able to like trust myself on my decisions, and just thinking that there's too many good options, so I can't just like choose one and miss out on the other.
For one, we live in a day and age where we have the most access to information than any generation before.
And
with that comes every possible life path you could take. We can see behind the curtain of the rich and famous, the living abroad, the simple family homestead, the touring musician, and any and every job in between. We've come a long way from the days of job fairs in high school where your options only looked like either IT guy, electrician, nurse, or policeman. Nowadays, we've never had so many options for life paths, and so we often don't pick any out of fear of picking the wrong one.
Nah, but I feel like the one good thing that I've seen out of that though is that people have now decentralized their idea of the right career. You know what I'm saying? People can have like things like side gigs. You know what I'm saying? Side jobs where they can work part-time in multiple different fields and aspects, and just like consolidate all of that, the income that they can get from all of that as one thing, and just operate as this independent thing that can grow into something that can be self-sustaining, you know what I'm saying? At least financially. You feel what I'm saying? In terms of like career, like, you know what I'm saying? You can have all these things and then live off of them, and then at the same time on top of that have like your legacy pack, your legacy project, where it's like, okay, it's not about the income, it's not about the money for us to survive, but it's, you know what I'm saying? So it's a decentralization of just being the IT guy your whole life, or just being the doctor your whole life. Yo, even the doctors, you can be doctor that does its own content creation. It can all be around doctor medical shit, but you know what I'm saying? This doctor is sharing information as content, this, that, and the third, obviously within the bounds of how they can practice that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? But a whole lot of these things can happen. You feel what I'm saying? And then boom, you see that doctor content journey just takes off more than this traditional medical thing. And here they go, leaving this, going on to that. You know what I'm saying? And then that creates an opening for other opportunities. That I feel like that's like the the good way in these things happening. You feel what I'm saying? And yeah, that also is dependent on how smart you are with the tools that you have at your disposal right now. I think I said
It's
that
the same
at
way
the
that
beginning.
Trader Joe's has found success by offering only one ketchup option. People are far more likely to buy ketchup because they aren't overwhelmed by their choices.
I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I'm the kind of person that tries to see everything from a different lens. I think to have a fully informed and educated opinion, you need to have different perspectives. But lately I've been having a lot of trouble in my personal life because I cannot make a decision for the life of me. And the reason for this is because I try to consider many different perspectives, and whenever I think about an answer, I'm like, well, actually, this could apply too, though.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm the same way, bro. Shit,
But it
that's crazy.
sucks because I really don't want to make the wrong decision about things, and it's hard to take that leap without considering all different aspects and
The fear of making the wrong decision.
perspectives to things. Honestly, sometimes I think I'm introspective to a fault. Because sometimes I'm worried that I'm going to make the wrong decision simply because I did not think about all of the possibilities with it.
Yeah.
But in turn, that starts inhibiting me because now I'm stuck in this position.
But that obviously, has given birth to the FOMO idea, the FOMO concept, you know what I'm saying? Not wanting to lose out on other possibilities, you know what I'm saying? Or other types of outcome that can come out of this here, you know what I'm saying? Circumstance type shit. So now you wanna make sure that you know about all avenues to get into before you can make it. You know what I'm saying? That does actually kind of sound retarded. And I'm not gonna lie, as I said, bro, like I'm a victim of that kind of mindset too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Of being indecisive.
That's crazy. We gotta work on that shit. We gotta work
It seems
on
like a surface problem for many Gen Zs who are often regarded as the headstrong generation to be indecisive. But there's more than meets the eye when it comes to the struggle of making decisions and the consequences of being unable to decide on something that could have an impact on your personal or professional life. A new study by HSBC found Gen Z is struggling with decision making and confidence more than any other generation. A third of Gen Zs spoken to feel paralyzed by uncertainty when it's time to act, and 62% feel ill-equipped to manage the decisions they have to make in their personal and professional lives.
Just had a bit of a mental breakdown. I don't know why. I felt like I wanted to share how I've been feeling. I'm really struggling with not knowing what I'm doing and not having everything figured out. I feel like a bit of a failure because
Oh my gosh.
I've had these grand.
And this one right here, bro, I can actually relate to it, like on with this YouTube shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. Like I'm literally at like ground levels. I have a whole lot of this kind of mental place to be at. You know what I'm saying? You see your shit pull up, still no views. 2 weeks later, nigga, 0 views. You're like, bro, what's up, nigga? Why? You feel me? But then at the same time, it's like, what the fuck is else there to do, bruh? It's either this, or you know what I'm saying, go. You know what I'm saying? It's like other things, other evils are better than others. Let's just put it that way. It's like pick your poison and let it kill you. Like, would you rather go out there and go join the outside type of groupthink where we plot on a whole bunch of either positive or negative opportunities to just like be rich as fuck and then or like, you know what I'm saying? Do you stay within your own space where you feel the most comfortable and then try out other opportunities to just make money and survive and blah blah blah? You know what I'm saying? Like, which evil are you finna be on at this point? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, fuck it. For as long as I have anything to try, I'll just keep at this. You know what I'm saying? Even if I see no views on that thing, no on this thing, you know what I'm saying? No motion, no movement. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just like keep at it though, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not even a comfortable realization to get to, but it's like the only one that makes sense for you. I hope that makes sense. And that's how I find myself just like carrying on though. You know what I'm saying? Even though the shit looks directionless. Facts.
My life, and it's just not turned out that way. I'm only 24 and I know I've still got time for it to fall into place, but it's just so hard to not constantly be comparing yourself to other people.
This also plays into another problem Gen Z has with decisions, which is potential anxiety. It's the fear of not living up to your full potential, and it's fueled by everything from economic uncertainty and social pressures to, perhaps most of all, the constant comparison on social media.
Yeah, that one is crazy.
To be 26 years old. I wake up in the morning every single day and I'm like, you have 24 hours, you have to make the most of the time. Time is only going forward, you're only getting older. The only thing standing between you and your goals is going out to get them. You need to put your mind on right, you need to stay motivated, you need to stay alert, you have to go out and get everything.
Bro, just looking at this video just burning me out, dog. Just looking at this clip just burns me out, because that's another thing I feel like it is, bro. It's burnout of all this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's burnout, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
that you've ever hoped and dreamed for, because this is your one life, this is your one chance. Like, you cannot take a second for granted. And then I take a deep breath at some point during the day, and I'm like, wait a second, this is a floating rock, nothing is real, it's probably a simulation, we're all gonna die anyway. Isn't the only point to love and be loved in return? Like, why am I so concerned with all this other stuff? And then I'm so overwhelmed by my thoughts that I open up the Instagram app, and it seems like everybody else is running the rat race, but they're also looking super hot and having a lot of fun while doing it. Everybody's getting skinnier. What is going on? And then I take one simple scroll through my Instagram feed or whatever the and it's the worst news you've ever read in your entire life. And you're like, okay, so you close the Instagram app, and then you sit and wonder for a while, am I the only 26-year-old going on 27, turning 27 in a month? Oh my God, am I the only 26, 27-year-old in the entire world who has no fucking idea what's going on? And it's just in this existential cycle of dread every single day. And then I think to myself, well, when my mother was 27, she had a 1-year-old, and that 1-year-old was me.
Yo, I have those too, bro. Yo, put in the comments if you have those too, where you're like, yo, damn, I'm at a point where, yo, I was my youngest parent's 2-year-old at this age. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even got not one kid. Yo, I was my oldest parent's 4-year-old. And I was that nigga's second kid. Like, what? I am the nigga's exact age where he was and had 2 kids. I don't even got one. You know what I'm saying? Nigga had a stable job by the age that I had. Like, what the fuck? I'm out here, man, looking at these no video ass videos. No view having ass videos that I be uploading, hoping to, you know what I'm saying? Hoping to, you know, live off of one. Like, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
So many options, which is a massive privilege. Technically, we all have free will. You can do whatever you want. Quit your job. Do this. Call this person. Go on this app. Go here. Move here. Do that.
Okay.
Change career paths.
Right.
But it's like, when you have decision fatigue, it's kind of tough.
Yeah. And then you just sit there in that one spot. Yeah. Crazy.
So I'm gonna try this probiotic yogurt.
Yeah, then you just sit there in that one spot and try a probiotic peanut butter jar, I think.
Because someone on the internet told me that I should.
Damn.
Great. And it's disgusting. Great.
Gen Z feels so much pressure to pick a meaningful path.
That 5 head though, she
and not squander their opportunities
because
they see everyone online living perfectly fulfilling lives. But this really leaves them feeling uncertain of their own future, and so they'd rather choose nothing at all than face the disappointment of choosing incorrectly. And with that, any commitment feels less like a win and more like a loss of freedom, as you've written off any other option out there. But to find any sort of success, you do have to make sacrifices.
Alright, what's the final thought?
So I do want to mention that I did skip over a lot of the reasons why Gen Z is supposedly not growing up, and that's for a reason. Things like the increased cost of living play a huge role, but I've talked about that so much I didn't want to like get all into it again, but we can't expect the same life that our parents had because it's a different time. The world is different, so we're different. Also, of course, this is not speaking for everyone in Gen Z. It's a trend, and trends don't account for everyone. We still have very ambitious and successful Gen Zers. Also, when young adults take longer to achieve the markers of adulthood, it's not necessarily their fault, but is a result of the world that they grew up in. And I think you can see that from everything we discussed today. But overall, I do think that we as a generation, I like to flip-flop between millennials or Gen Z, depending how I'm feeling.
Yeah,
but
too,
as a Gen Zer today, we need to stop waiting for things to be perfect to make a move. Otherwise, you never will. We grew up with this idea that you can chase your dreams and achieve anything, but that doesn't mean that there aren't sacrifices along the way. And the more you chase a perfect life, the more disappointing.
And the kind of sacrifices you'd have to make are different from your previous generations. You know what I'm saying?
You'll be. But that's all I have for you today. Make sure you check out Scentbird and use code EMBERS for 55%.
This is like Embers.
The definition of following your intuition. The only thing I have planned in my life right now is just like a feeling. Like I just have a feeling. So you just follow that feeling.
Just go into the feeling,
and then it might get you into some debt.
I'm the only one. Okay, I ain't gonna lie, fuck that. That's her thing, I'm the only one. That's true, I ain't gonna lie, what's that? That's her thing, I'm the only one, what's that? I'm not gonna lie, fuck that.
My bad. Oh shoot, y'all unfortunately caught me at the wrong time. I think not really. Alright, cool. Might as well get to it, man. ReWAD. Hip hop related, man. Hip hop related, dog. Yeah. Oh, fuck that. Just lining stuff up, bro. We lining it up, man. What are we doing? What else can we line up in this month, man? Okay. Hopefully we see something new over there. Alright, let's get to it. Load some Joe Budden stuff, why not? So apparently Joe Budden buys AI artist album. What's the future of AI music? I always would be wondering, like, yo, is AI thing coming through, like creating music and generating its own, not its own music. It's like obviously it gets instructions, you know, as per what it is told to generate. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was just like, I would wonder to myself too, like, yo, what's the future of this thing hold, right? So I say, let's get into it. Why not?
I can tell you about the AI app, my boy.
I would like to hear about it. It's fire.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel a way about even saying something about it.
Did you buy it
bought it
on accident, or did you know it was AI and bought it?
I bought it, and as it was downloading, I realized I investigated.
I see.
What did you investigate?
When I'm hearing these AI people, they sound familiar to me.
Yeah, because
like it's a song and the pulse of a song of somebody I like already.
For sure.
So you got me if I hear it and it's good. So I heard some shit on Instagram.
What you mean it sounds familiar? So do you think, is it that they use familiar artists, like artists that are already out here making music? Do they use their vocals? Because like, whose vocals do they use? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Instagram, somebody had it as a song. I went to find the album. I found the album. Let me try to play some of it. I'm not going to say who it is because I'm not promoting some AI.
I told you the other nigga got an EP. That shit ain't bad.
Yeah, but them getting you and them getting me is two different things.
What you mean?
With all due respect.
Well,
Like,
what's the difference? Yeah, but
it's the difference.
They got you too.
No, they didn't get me. I
mean
bought
they
it.
got you?
You didn't know your nigga was AI till we came here and told you.
Yeah, no, but you didn't either. So when you heard
that's not true.
When you heard that song, you said, "Yo, who the fuck is that? That shit is fire," and you went and bought it. You didn't know it was AI before you heard the song.
I was going to buy it. They had an album out. I saw the cover. The cover looked fishy, but I'm already pressing download because.
But one, who is them? What's the artist's name, brother?
It sounds like good stuff. And then I investigated, and yeah, it was definitely some AI shit. But let's see here. Let's see here. Look at this shit. This is the scariest shit ever.
Oh shit. This guy's played it for real.
This is track 2. I'm gonna briefly play just a few of these.
Okay.
But this is why
R&B
something
stuff?
has to be done about this. You can't just go steal Whitney's voice and
like
Luther's voice.
It sounds like something you would play as a sleeper.
Like some Wonka's type stuff.
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
Like some scissor type stuff.
This whole AI album sounds like that.
I bet.
I feel like I've heard this before. Yeah. Because you probably have heard it before.
Or something similar.
Right. Wherever they took it from.
Who writes the lyrics?
Don't sound bad.
That's not bad at all.
And who writes the lyrics too, man?
Scary.
Trying to think who that sounded like.
Oh my god. I mean, you gotta think of, you know what I'm saying, the landscape of just casual listeners. You know what I mean? The part of music consumers who are just casual listeners who don't care about the real life aspect of artists. You know what I'm saying? Playlist listeners. You know what I mean? This is great for playlist listeners. Because, I mean, think about it. If you care about an artist, you follow up on their life, you see the content that they put out, you see it's a real person, it's somebody real. Obviously, you're not going to get fooled by the fact that, yo, I'm listening to AI music. Like, it's some music that, you know, if you're invested in being into the artist, if you're a fan of the artist, you'll actually develop an ear that can pick up when something is real versus when something is fake. Whereas the playlist listener, the casual listener, the, you know what I'm saying, the, by the way, elevator music type listener, you know what I'm saying, background listening type shit, bro, like, there's no difference to you, right? There literally is no difference between AI music and real life artist music type shit.
I can name a few people.
A bunch.
Sorry, you give him a lot of shots here.
She's alright.
Damn, and another thing is the fact that these artists that are out here making this type music, this is their competition. I literally hear SZA competition here. I hear Janae Aiko competition here. I hear Summer Walker competition. Like, yo, y'all going against the machine for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, the competition is getting too real, bro. It's getting too scary, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine me thinking I found something.
I hear.
I'm like, ooh, I'm about to kill the streets.
LMA, bro.
She sound like Beyonce background.
Yeah, it sounds like LMA main vocals and Beyonce background.
I see what they doing now.
My boy, like you gotta see the whole vision here. You gotta see the full picture, bro. These guys, these AI artists, well, the people that create these AI artists are gonna start winning awards, bruh. And then when they start winning awards, by that point, it's not gonna be about the artist, because the artist is AI. The artist is not a living human being. So awards are gonna be won by record labels, dog. Like the record label owns the thing. But even though, you know what I'm saying, even if we take a consideration to today's landscape and how things work, bro, like signed artists, it's not really their own awards that they be winning. They're just like the face of, well, they're just, you know, it just boosts their brand, it boosts their face winning these awards. But these awards are actually the record labels. But now it's like with the advent of this kind of stuff going on, you know what I'm saying, the record label itself is finna scoop the award, bruh. It's about to be so, man, come on, brother. Damn. Interesting though, eh?
I'm turning it off.
Yeah, okay.
I'm turning it off.
I'm conflicted about this because I don't necessarily I don't like AI, but I do think there are ethical ways in which you use AI. If this is someone that like wrote the song and produced the song but can't sing the song and had the machine replace his voice, I'm not all the way mad at that.
Can he just give it to somebody else like every other songwriter's done for the last?
It ain't the easiest to find someone that can fucking sing or is down to collaborate with you, or you know, there's a million reasons why you might go this route, and I'm not all the way mad at that again.
I'm just old. I just think that I think that what happens when it starts to be the dominant thing. Like we sit around and we talk about the companies all the time monopolizing shit and not paying their people their just.
Bro, trust me, when it becomes the dominant thing, it's going to be a battle against the labels themselves, bro. But then again, instead of using the real life human artists to go against one another, right? To compete against one another, they just have these machines that they can build from, you know what I'm saying, like A to Z, bro. Since obviously an artist can eventually express the fact that, nah, bro, I'm not getting enough of this, or I'm getting unfairly treated here, or, you know what I'm saying, I'm being downplayed by the label here, man, I can, you know what I'm saying, an artist can always wake up. They can always be even influenced by a crowd to be like, yo, be aware of this, bro. It doesn't seem like you're aware of, like, important things here. And then the artist can wake up and just make a decision to just be anti the label all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, come on. And then with the advent of just, like, something that they can create artificially, they can just create what they want, and they could use that at will, bruh. They can shelve that AI artist for like I don't know, man, 20-something years. And then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, this motherfucker's dropping again, like, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? But it was all the label. It was never because, you know, the niggas ain't even human. You feel me?
Dues, et cetera, what happens when this becomes the majority, not the minority? I think as the tech gets better, the sound of the music's going to get better.
But then now
we always talked about how ChatGPT.
How will the live performances be? Damn. Very curious at that part.
The paid version versus the free version. Like now when this shit can start really writing these songs that a writer might not be needed.
Especially when it can write its own. It can write for its own.
Anymore. Right now you're given a scenario of the writer being compensated accordingly, which is dope. Yeah. But what happens when the ChatGPT could write the song, produce the song, sing the song?
Yo,
it's a whole.
Well, perform the song? Like how do we do that?
A whole bunch of people now out of work.
Yeah, but that's a problem for a few reasons. Part of the problem with AI is not how useful we think it will be in the future. I think most of us agree on that.
I think
it's about the business being right. One, so if the business is right and you go and you do that, or what Parks is suggesting, then awesome.
What business? You lost me.
Like I've talked about the UMG, what is it, Udio, whatever the AI company is. They just made a agreement that we talked about briefly on the last pod where the people.
How many AI artists are signed to date? You know
people that the AI is borrowing from will get compensated.
But UMG is already giving motherfuckers a fraction of a billion. So imagine when we say, yo, we did all the work. You just we used your likeness to a certain degree. Yeah. You think the compensation will be fair?
Probably not.
You get what I'm saying?
There's a world in which it would be. It's possible. Likely, no. I mean, we're talking about corporate.
I was about to say, I stand on the side of realism. Like,
no doubt.
I just
think talk for a living. There should be nobody that can come and take all of the words that you've modeled and go and create you.
Yeah,
I would be against that.
I see why.
True, but now the talking is the talent. It's like it's a distinction I have between ghost writing raps and writing for people to sing.
Yeah,
like singing is the talent.
Right.
I mean, writing is a talent too, but if you're a rapper and you're reciting somebody's shit, you just kind of delivering it more so than that being your.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of frown upon one, I don't really frown upon the other.
I think it's more complex, but
yeah, I get your point. Minimalistic.
Yeah.
All right. So if I'm getting up here and I'm giving my opinion on a topic that we got on the board, cool. But if it's a general song that they could pull from 1,000 love novels, you could pull from a million love songs to generate a song.
Yeah.
Who do we compensate?
The million places that you took it from.
Cool, which means it's going to be less than a cent.
For sure.
Which plenty of people make a living off of less than. The person that put a snare on the Confessions album was rich for life.
And also, if hundreds of thousands of people are all pulling from these sources, them little pennies will add up.
Cool, but y'all just said that RBX and them are not being compensated accordingly based on...
That depends on how big of an artist we're talking about here.
A pool of tips.
Business is wrong.
Back to your realism thing. You're absolutely right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what faith do we have that they're going to compensate these 7 zillion
Very little.
sources that we pull from?
Very
We don't
little.
even know who to pay.
But I do think that it is possible.
They could come up with a system. Though,
They can absolutely. Again, this is all digital shit that you could absolutely trace the roots for. It's not some complex old school shit where we're trying to fucking piece together some shit that happened in the 1800s or whatever. No, this is all, it has a digital footprint.
For me, it's about the quality of the product and the art too, because you can pull people together and sounds together to make something that's new, but there's still something about the human mind and the human spirit that's different.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if it becomes...
And that's always going to be the competitive edge of the humanization of music, right? It's the fact that, it's always going to be in the forefront of the new. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna, because you're gonna need a real life human being to start something that hasn't been created. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with the AI, you have to kind of replicate something that has already been done, right? Maybe use different elements, combine different elements from what we've heard before, though. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a human being can like literally pull from anywhere type shit. Like with a human being, you can get deep because, you can change things, about your delivery of maybe whatever song it is. I'm talking about a musical artist of a human. You can change something that only somebody's intuition could be sensitive to. You feel what I'm saying? Whereas with AI shit, everything is robotic, right? Everything is kind of predictable, respective of its little elements that's within the whole product, which is the song. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you get it, but it's totally different. It's totally different in terms of when we talking about the depth that the human touch can have. You know what I mean?
Better business to not do that than companies at some point are going to do that, and that's what scares me. Just like we could pull podcasters together, and we could find someone to have my perspective or your perspective, right? Not just our words, but our actual point of view. And at some point, podcasting and journalism and paper writing and everything is just going to, book authors, all that shit is going to be gone if it goes down this road, and that just scares me. And I know every generation has that fear.
True.
But yeah, and I know I'm old, so.
I also just think that there's limitations to what the AI shit can do, because I think that we become more invested in...
That's what I was trying to get at, the limitations. The AI has like limitations that humans don't. You know what I'm saying?
The person more so than just the music. People aren't just going fucking balls to the wall over Drake and posting all these bots, and all these people aren't just doing that because they like the slaps. They became invested in the person.
That's
and
true.
then we're also discounting the whole entire business that is live.
Because the person has a story to tell. You feel what I'm saying? The person has a history. The person has a day they were born. You feel what I'm saying? The person has a day that they blew up. A person has a day that they done been struggling for this thing, and they could put it all in the music. You feel what I'm saying? What the fuck is AI gonna paint? Alright? What school did AI go to? You know what I'm saying? What neighborhood did it come up in? Like these elements are, those are finna be the competitive edge, you know what I'm saying, in terms of AI versus artists. You feel what I'm saying? That's what humans. That's what humans can have over these AI joints.
Performance, whether it's concerts, whether it's TV appearances, interviews, etc. AI can't replicate that.
That's what I'm saying.
So I think that there could be a million great AI slaps.
Nah, man, that's okay.
But that's
cool.
only
let me let them finish, and then I'm gonna go ahead and jump to the moral of the story.
One,
what I'm trying
recorded
to say.
music, even pre-digital everything, has only been maybe a third of the music business. Maybe.
I'm not gonna play no more of this shit, even though not right now.
This nigga was doing a whole other bro, and this is new.
It's not fair.
Imagine 5 years from now.
But I told y'all I was in the strip club. I was in the strip club and ran into one of them techie people, and they was like, "Yo, y'all need to continue that conversation on AI because essentially what's happening is yada 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 yada, and your everyday regular nobody can." Just pull Beethoven, put him here, pull Maestro, put him here, and now humans are competing with the best of AI. It's just gonna be tough. It's just gonna be tough. I'm not gonna beat people down because I don't know how many musicians are listening out there. I don't know how many people.
Okay, let me tell you why I don't think that would be like a reality to at least be